All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our live webinar. We're going to be jumping into a live demo of an integration between Shopify and Sage Intacct. Probably noticed that looks like the three of us are sitting around the table together. We are actually joining you today from the Sage Partner Summit at the Hilton Anatole in Dallas, where we are networking with other partners to figure out how we can continue to bring more capabilities to small and medium-sized businesses using Intacct collectively. But that's not what you're here for. You're here to see how our Shopify Intacct integration works. So you'll notice that the lines have been muted, but if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A feature in Zoom. So without further ado, let's jump into some introductions. So Chase, employee number 2, and the guy in charge when our founder Scott isn't around, probably to some extent, even when he is. Chase and his team have built an award-winning integration practice that focuses on connecting Sage Intacct to really any application where we can get access to the API. He has more than 6 years of Sage Intacct integration experience and has built thousands of integrations into each module. So there's really no part of the API that Chase and his team have yet to touch. Moving on to Brent. Brent joined Venn a little over 2 years ago, and he has an extensive background in nonprofit ministry. He also has a personal interest in technology automation, as is evident by the number of automations he has set up in his home. And he is a natural relationship builder, which makes him perfect for the role as account executive. He's also mastered the art of the icebreaker on calls with new partners and prospects. So if you have the opportunity to have a one-on-one demo with him, look forward to that. So with that, I will hand it over to Chase. Brent?
No pressure, right, on those icebreakers. So, all right, guys, let's do this. Let's dive in. So, Mel said we're live here at the Sage Partner Summit. Super excited to be doing this in a live environment. So, real quick, before we jump into it, what I wanted to share. So, we're off in kind of this corner where lunch is going to be served at some point soon. But I did want to say we are really big on swag here at Venn. So, I've got a Venn Yeti water bottle here. So if you're at the summit and you want a free water bottle, come find us. And the first person that finds us can get this while we're here. Maybe you get on camera as well. All right, so let's dive in. So here's what we're going to do today. I want to talk briefly about how we approach integrations at the end of the day. So we're talking about Shopify and Intacct. So how do we go about the integrations? What does it look like? How we kind of put this in place? And then we'll get to the bread and butter of what this time is all about, the meat on the bone, if you will. And Chase will walk us through a live demo. Now, we're not smoke and mirrors, so everything you see will be live. And if something goes wrong, you get to find out real time, just like us. But that's why we got Chase on board, because he can sometimes fix those in a live environment. So, all right, let's move on. So real quick, before we get started, a poll. Which of the following is you or your customer's biggest pain point? It can be related to Shopify, it can be related to other things, but we got some options on the screen. We'll give you just a second to fill that out, and then Mel will kind of report on what's going on there. While we wait for that, Mel, Chase, what's been your favorite thing so far about being at the summit?
I think my favorite thing is going to be kind of cliche. It's seeing people that we've known for years. It's like a family reunion every time we come back to this thing. And there aren't particularly customers here, right? So we've known these people for a long time, and it's like getting the band back together. That's me. Mel, what about you?
Personally, I'm a little biased coming from the marketing side of the house. It's been really cool to see the Sage rebrands live and in person. I think they did a fantastic job rolling it out. I know a lot of effort goes into that. They did that globally. So that paired with just getting to put faces to names and really network with our amazing partners. Brent, we have a winner, syncing transactional data, C.
Okay, syncing transactional data. That's great, because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to sync some transactional data from Shopify over to Intacct. All right, so let's get into kind of what this looks like. Integrations, at the end of the day for us, is connecting to two systems, primarily via an API to push and pull data back and forth, right? So we do that in a few different ways. But one of the most important things to know, like, why is this important? Why should I even care about integrating my systems together? So we've done some research and research Googling out there and figuring out what other research people have done too. this idea of, you know what, I'll do integrations down the road. I don't want to focus on that. It's not as important. It's really a fallacy. And we've kind of looked into some different environments here where if you average 1% failure, if you average 1% of manual entry that is erroring out, your error rate, the amount of manual work you're gonna have to do on the backside is just snowballing over and over again. So even at that just 1% margin of error, we found that organizations are drowning in the number of manual entries they have to go back and redo, and spending the time up front to put these systems in an automated, integrated system allows for you to not worry about that stuff on the back end. You just know that it's going to work every single time. So this is super important because it's going to scale. It's going to grow over time, and we don't want that for you guys. All right. All right. So there's a few different types of integrations, and I won't read all of this, but there's the main ones to kind of talk about these four. We've got package integrations. These are things if you're in the Salesforce world, they have their app exchange, and you can put into place a pre-designed package that will take care of that work for you. Custom code, this is traditional. This is what a lot of people think around integrations, where someone is sitting at a keyboard typing out thousands of lines of custom code, and you're storing that on a local server, on a cloud-based server. It's definitely the more known about type of integration, but it's very, very costly. Having turnover, someone coming in to pick up someone else's code can be extremely costly. Going in and finding where the particular piece of code was written that you need to edit and change. It just takes a lot of effort to do so. It's not scalable. RPA, robotics process automation, is more of your point and click. So this is really good when you want to try to just replicate some tasks that you're doing, point and click around. You're training a robot to do this. There's automation to that, but there's no major logic that goes into that. So you're not able to do some fun, cool things in the middle, which leads us to the final one, middleware. This is where we spend a lot of our time. Put an application between the two systems that pulls data in, may do some cool logic custom things there, and then pushes that at the end of the day to another system. Another really great thing about middleware is we can pull in multiple systems together before we send that data to the target system at the end of the day. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. So around the middleware, like what can you do, what can't you do without it? Again, I won't read all of these, but when it comes to what is the cost here? Like, how much can I afford to lose or not lose? Without middleware, it's very costly to maintain. I mentioned that custom code. It's very difficult to scale. You don't have the ability to just keep it up and running over a long period of time because you're going to have turnover. You're going to have people leave, and you know, coming in and maintaining that is just really, really hard. With middleware, you get a lot of security. You got flexibility with your data. We can bring in a lot of send it off, do some cross checks and so forth. So again, flexibility is the name of the game here, along with security. All right, so what's possible with integration? Let's get into the Shopify Intacct piece, and then I'll turn it over to Chase for the actual demo. So with Shopify and Intacct, we look at this transactional data flow here. You're going to take your Shopify store, you're going to have it online, you're going to have it as a POS. Where we start that integration is we're saying that a transaction has taken place, right? So you have a customer that's gone to your store, they put products into their shopping cart, they've checked out with a payment method, whether it be Shopify's processor, Stripe, whatever you kind of use for that payment processing, and you got the details around that. And then we pick all that up when the transaction takes place, or we can do it once a day, once an hour. You get a lot of flexibility. Again, it's middleware. And we move that over into Intacct, into the appropriate place, primarily in order entry, but we can certainly go to other places. We've done some summarizations in the GL. Along with this, we've got refunds. We take care of that. We do credit memos inside of Intacct. Inventory is super huge, right? It doesn't matter which system you master your inventory in, we can keep the other system in sync. So if you're adding, fulfilling products from Intacct, or replenishing your shelves or virtual shelves, if you will, we can let Shopify know exactly what Intacct shows, so it's ready to go. All right, so last piece before I kick it to Chase, this is kind of how we go about our integrations. Everything we just discussed is on this diagram right here. So we talk at an object level, moving that data from one object to another into the other system. So these diagrams, these lines represent an integration for us. Jason will go into more detail about this, but it's always nice to just give you a visualization beyond the nice marketing graphic, what this looks like and what you would see as we go into some discovery for your customers or for you as a customer that you utilize a Shopify. All right, so moment that we've all been waiting for. Let's hop to the live demo. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Chase take over, and then he'll walk us through what this looks like.
Thanks, Brent. I am going to start in Intacct. Got a, I'm in the order entry module here. I'm about to create an item. You can start in Intacct to create items if you want to, or you could do it in Shopify. You might already have items in both places. We can work with all scenarios. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to start by creating or mastering my items in Intacct. I'm just going to put together a baseball score sign here. It's a custom sign for baseball scores. I mean, you could really put in whatever we want since we're just demoing this out. I'm going to put a price on here of 125 bucks. You know, custom baseball score sign. Sounds expensive. You can see up at the top, we've got several tabs for a variety of standard integrations that we've got built out. Of course, Shopify here is at the top. I'm going to select the type of product. You can have a product or a product variant. So a variant would be something like a shirt that has a small, medium, large. You know, those are different variants of the same product. I'm going to set my sync status to sync. We can have this happen automatically if you want to. I'm going to put in my variant to name. So even if you only have one product variant, even if you only have one product, they always have a variant. It's kind of confusing. I can have different SKUs here than the item IDs. So I'm just going to put in the same one, right? And I'm going to save this, guys. It's going to send out a smart event from Intacct over to the integration to let Shopify know there's a new product that we need to add into Shopify. And I'm going to flip over to my product section. So we've got a development store here that's spun up. You can see we've got a ton of different items from a variety of demos and things we've set up over the past. Well, let's see if I can get my baseball score sign to pop up now. Baseball might take a second for it to show up. And if it doesn't, we'll pick a different one. A bit of hair. Let me grab the item ID here and see if I paste that in. Yeah, okay, this is live. So let's double check, make sure that I've got this synced. Oh, great, it did sync, perfect. So maybe I'm just a hair behind. I'm gonna refresh my Shopify store just to see if that does anything. And no result. Interesting. All right, I'm gonna give this one more go. I'm gonna grab the product ID here. This is definitely an interesting scenario where the integration worked, but my Shopify store is not. Ah, there it is. The search is just not working. Who knows? Thankfully, I don't have to worry about the issues with the UI in Shopify, not my forte. But it is there, right? It did sync over. Here's my $125 price tag. I don't know, let's put in 5 here and let's add a little image to spice this up. Now, we don't sync images, but you probably would do some additional work here. I'm gonna throw one in, just a score here that we're gonna take a look at in just a second. And for the purpose of the demo, now I wanna go and buy the baseball score sign. So I'm gonna hop over to my online store, and this is just the standard template. Of course, yours probably looks very different. And let me see if I can get my baseball score sign to pop up. Perfect. Oh, I put in the wrong image. Hold on, I have to do this. Let me go back and remove this guy. Okay, bear with me. Oh, it's because, okay, hold on, watch this. Okay, I'm gonna pull up some scores. We're gonna put in a great score back from March here and shove this guy in there, right? Super easy. I love Shopify.
All I gotta say is 27.25. 27.25.
All right, so these guys are not concerned about that score, but we are gonna buy this guy. So let me refresh the screen here. There we go, much better. Okay, so I'm gonna buy, let's see, do we have any in stock? I thought I put 5 in, oh, I gotta save it, great. Okay, successfully updated, refresh. Right now I've got some in stock, Wow, we are not doing so hot over here with this Shopify store. It's probably because it's cached. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna buy it now. Such a great game. And I don't know, I'm gonna make up a name here. mbell@gmail.com. No, Bell. And I'm just gonna type in, I don't know, a random address. And continue shopping. Now for the Shopify store here, we pull in any kind of shipping, any kind of taxes, any kind of discounts into the subtotal lines in the order entry module when we create the SO document. For the credit card, they've got a specific way for us to do approved transactions. So I can really just type anything in here to get this to work. Security code, I don't know, great, and pay now. So this simulates an order being successfully created, successfully paid. We do have shipping on here, but no tax and no discounts. So when this comes over, we should see $125 as a line item for the item ID that we created. And we should have a subtotal line for $690, right? And our total $131. The customer will get created. So Mel Bell will be created as a customer. The contact information will be pulled over as well. We don't have to do that if you guys don't necessarily want that. You might just want a generic user or generic customer, which you can do as well. But let's go see if we can find that invoice, pull up my Shopify transaction IDs. Mel Bell's already in here. Pull this guy up. And survey says, there we go. Okay, so customer, Mel Bell, there's our contact info, right? We've got our address already ready to roll. Due date, I mean, some of this stuff might be set per your design or your Shopify Intacct setup. I didn't put quantity on the Intacct side, right? So we're negative now, but we do have that line item for $125. Got that shipping for $690, and boom, there's our total. Payment details, right? Came in as an AR payment. It's paid with a credit card. We got the date. We got all those good things. And of course, we've got our audit fields to indicate that this indeed happened. When did it happen? You know, the status of that particular integration. Yeah, so I mean, that's really it. There's an add-on for inventory, so we could sync inventory if you wanted us to, and that can be bi-directional. It can be one way with the inventory control module, right? You pipe in receipts or transfers or adjustments, all of those then get piped over into Shopify. Don't have time to demo that today, but I think we do have some time for some questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Brent take over. Got a whirl and out. Going to go on mute.
So before we open it up, and I think we have a few questions in the queue, one question I always get, Chase, that you can probably speak to really well is, I mentioned Shopify can be used as an online store as well as point of sale. And you have different locations, you have different stores, you have different locations. You got all these different avenues that different transactions are coming through. So one of the questions I get is, how can we represent that and send it to different places inside of Intacct? So if we know that one particular store is using Stripe as the processor, and that needs to go to a certain bank account. It needs to be attached to a certain bank account, which means it needs to attach to a certain GL and so forth. Same thing with locations. How do we handle that in the integration?
The typical way we do it is with logic that's provided by the client. So if they want, we can use multiple transaction definitions to represent multiple sales channels. You might have a brick and mortar store where you want to use a different transaction definition for the brick and mortar, one for online. Potentially, you might want to keep track of the fees or the subtotal lines. And instead of subtotals, you want to keep track of them as GL batches. We do have the ability to customize the integration to fit really whatever you can dream up. We've got clients that want to go into other receipts. We've got clients that want to do AR invoices. I mean, really, you describe what you want, and we have probably built it out before for another client. Now, what we have by default, right, is going into the order entry module allows us to deploy quickly. But if you have a customized need, I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks to build out something unique, specific to your workflow.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right. Well, Mel, she's the one that keeps us all in line. So she's the gatekeeper of questions that come in the door. So why don't you share what questions are out there, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so let's just start from the top. How long does it take to implement this type of integration?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So typical, so what Chase just mentioned is we do custom integrations, but what we just walked through is kind of our standard workflow. You know, if we don't need to get outside of this box, we can typically put this up and running in about 4 to 6 weeks. So start front to back, doing more detailed requirement gathering on the front end, doing good testing on the back end. We don't ever want to push something to production that hasn't been tested properly. So we'll need your time, obviously, on the front end, the back end, to take care of those requirements and those testing environments. But typically within 4 to 6 weeks, we can have this up and running and shipped out the door.
Cool. All right, we had one about discounts. So can you let Intacct know about discounts applied on the order?
We do discounts in a variety of ways, ideally as a subtotal. You might also apply a credit or like a discount to an order that's already been processed. You know, maybe they're ticked that their baseball score sign doesn't show the correct score. You know, the Longhorns are a little upset that it didn't work out in their favor, and they want to return it, or they've already bought it, right, and they want a discount. We handle those in a variety of ways. It's dependent on what you want as the client. We can essentially, because the invoice has already been paid and Intacct can no longer modify it. So there's a couple of ways we can handle that. If it's just a discount right out of the gate, right, like a 20% discount, we do exactly what Shopify does, and it applies the discount at a line item level, because I believe you can have discounts that are only applicable to specific items rather than the total order. Anyway, we match whatever Shopify does. And if you want something else, right, we can modify it to meet you guys where you're at. For gift cards, we've got a unique process as well, right? You've already got the money. You've already been paid the $125, and now they're applying it. So we got processes for handling that as well.
Cool. All right. What about pre-orders where we're selling a product that's not yet in inventory?
That's a tough question, right? It's like trying to sell something you don't have yet. So what I'd like to say is, if Shopify can handle it, then so can Intacct. The challenge about selling an inventory item that is you don't technically have inventory yet is you have to make some modifications to the setup to allow for that to happen. Right? If you have an inventory item in Intacct, you cannot sell it if you don't have quantity available. However, there is a setting in the order entry module that allows you to go into the negative. So there's some discussions that need to be had on that front about what you as the client want to do in those cases, right? Because negative quantities, you know, tend to maybe not work out sometimes because you actually never get the inventory. So again, possible for us to handle. It's more so how you guys want to handle that in Intacct.
Thanks, Chase. All right, so that's all we have for questions. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you're interested in learning more about integrating Shopify and Sage Intacct, or really any other app to Sage Intacct, we'd love to hop on a call with you. Or if you happen to catch a snippet of this on our social media channels and you're at the Sage Partner Summit in Dallas this week, please stop by our booth. We're at N10. We are in the Sage Intacct neighborhood. So we've got a full team here ready to talk to you about whether it's Shopify or any other app that you are looking to help your clients integrate into Sage Intacct. Venn Technology is here. We hope you learned something today, and thanks again for joining us. Hope you have a great week.
Thank you, guys.